another Team Absolution lesson. We're talking Bushiroad's price hike. You're mad about it? Let's talk about it. Hey everybody, welcome to another episode of Vanguard Lessons here with the Professor Cap. It's been a while since I've been teaching you guys lessons. But we're going back to the real world, yeah, where things exist, economics exists, life exists. We're going to talk about Bushiroad's price hike. Yes, it's been discussed quite in depth by other people. It's been discussed on forums. It's been discussed, I think we even talked about it. But let's go into in depth about its real world applications and what it means for you as a player, for the game, and for singles, because that's something that needs to be discussed. So one, let's talk about the obvious repercussions that this price hike is going to do for the individual. So the first thing that's wrong, well, the first thing that's going to happen is that products' prices are going to increase. This is an obvious one, but it's worth mentioning. So this price increase is going to happen. We're not entirely sure how much yet, but we think it's about $10 per box and about 50 cents per pack is the rough understanding of what's going to happen. But let's break this down. This is $10 per box, 50 cents per pack, probably towards distributors. This means that Potomac or other distributors that a lot of people buy their boxes and cases from will see this $10 to 50 cent per pack increase in prices. But what this means for you who like to go to your local game shop is that if you buy your boxes from local game shops, hey, I'm all about supporting the local community, you got to do that, but at the same time, you're going to be paying a lot more because a $10 increase for the distributor, from the distributor to the local game shop, means the local game shop has to mark up their boxes that they sell even higher to hedge the cost of the increased price. So what you might see, instead of a $10 increase at a local game shop per box, you'll see a $20 to $25 increase. So that way they can make some money off the boxes still, because local game shops have to make money, they can't just break even. I don't think pack prices will change that much because there's only so much money a person is willing to spend on a pack. There's these things called like thresholds of prices that people just won't pay, which is a good segue to our next aspect of this. What does this mean for the singles market? So let's talk about singles here, because everyone loves buying singles, right? But the thing is, to buy singles, and we've talked about this many times before, in order for someone to buy a single, somebody has to open the boxes, which means at some point somebody has to buy the boxes that are now increased. So companies like, first of all, big companies like Ideal 808, ARG, these big places, they're going to open, some of them, depending on their demand, depending on you as an individual and the demand the set gives us, will obviously be the determinant as to how many boxes of product they're going to open beforehand. You will see a decrease a little bit because people are scared of change. Expectations happen. The price increase has created a high level of speculation that this is going to hurt the game. And the speculation is what causes people to buy less boxes. Sometimes speculation can be more overpowering than an actual price change. It's the speculation that the game is being destroyed by this price increase that actually affects the sales, not the price increase itself. So what's going to happen is some of these big stores are going to increase it a little bit. So there's still going to be plenty of cards out there, but what does that mean for the individual cards? Well, some cards you just can't increase the price of. For example, a trigger. It's kind of hard to increase the price of a trigger significantly. Your average trigger will run you anywhere between 15 cents to 45 cents if it's a popular trigger. Now we're talking basic triggers. We're not talking like Shiny Margles or the Gear Chronicle foil or the one that was once like $10 or the new Atomic crit that's a promo. I'm talking about your plain vanilla crits that come in the set, plain vanilla stands, plain vanilla heals, stuff like that. There's only so high the price of those cards can go before just people are going to find alternatives or people are just going to trade for them and stuff like that, just because triggers are so abundant anyways that even if they reduce their production, even if they reduce their opening by half, that's still a lot of triggers because the trigger comes 1 to 2 per pack depending on set. So triggers, no worries. Commons, Also, kind of no worry, because there are plenty of commons out there that it's not going to be that an issue, assuming that it's not some kind of bonkers common. So commons prices, you won't see increase or decrease. Rares, you might see a small increase in price, because rares, depending on the set, some sets, rares only came like 2 or 3 per box of each rare. Sometimes you only got, because there were so many rares in a set, you would only get 1 copy of the rare, or 2 copies of the rare per box opening. But if you're opening enough cases, that's also not going to be an issue. So rares, you might see a couple cent increase here, a couple cent increase there, depending on the rare, depending on the place that you're buying it from. Double R's and triple R's, this is where things get kind of weird. Because first let's talk triple R's, GR's, SP's. Well, SP's, Bushiroad's also taken this huge stride to make boxes more demandable, but we'll get to that in a second. So SP's are going to increase the most significantly, because SP's are the rarest in a box, and they've gone to special measures to make SP's look different, more aesthetically pleasing, in order to promote sales of the box. Because Bushiroad, like myself, they know that they're going to have to push these boxes on you to get them to buy them after the price increase. So how are you going to do that? Well, better cards, fancier art. Right now they're going with the second one. And a God pack. They're giving like the ultimate raffle. Like there's a chance that you're going to open a pack and boom, it's everything you ever wanted in that pack. So kind of not really, because you really don't want the Neo Vector one that I got back. I don't. So let's keep going. So the triple R's and the SPs are going to see the biggest shift. The triple R's that are in high demand are next. So we're talking about the money card. So I'm going to frame this all in an example real quick. So we're talking GBT01. Set sold out. So what we would see in this new price increase world is Dodex skyrocketing in price much more than before, because Dodex was the money card already. But now, to make it advantageous for these people buying cases, these people buying boxes, to afford to buy these boxes, to make their money back in any semblance of that, they have to increase the prices of these money cards. So they say, here's what we're going to do. Dodex jumps up in price. The next guy jumps up in price. But these lower demanded guys are dealt by this threshold. So at the end of the day, when it comes to singles, what you're going to see is basically the highest demand cards are going to see the biggest jumps, and the lower demand cards aren't, because the lower demand cards, there's no wiggle room there. But the high demand cards, players have to have them. We're talking Sword Me, you had to have it, so the price could just go up to meet the demand. It had to. So it just kept going up and up and up and up and up until it hit its own threshold. Think of the SP Bermudas. The price just kept going up at first, especially overseas. Here it kind of was constrained, but overseas it just kept going up and up and up until it finally hit its wall. These lower demand cards they have very strict parameters. The prices can't exceed a certain amount because they're not good enough to justify it. These higher cards, these high demand cards, they do justify that. So going back to Bushiroad, and the kind of decisions they're going to make going forward to you is, let's use GBT05. We've heard some of the stuff that's going to be in it. You're going to see a ramp in power creep. That's just the strict reality of the game now. Because they have to justify. There can never be another okay set. Because people have to pay more. They have to feel justified in making their purchases of a pack. So, to justify the purchases of the pack, they added the God pack. That is why the God pack exists. They made a jump in price for the pack, and Bushiroad said, okay, we're increasing the price of a pack 50 cents for the individual. To justify that 50 cents basically enters you now into a new type of lottery, which says you have a chance of pulling the God pack. You pull the God pack, you made your money on that pack. You made tons of your money back on that pack. So that's what they do. They made the SPs full art. They made the SP stamped. So that if this 50 cent that you just invested in, extra, now, if you pull this SP, you make all your money back. And more, and plus, it incentivizes you, which offsets the price increase. Same thing with the boxes. That's why they've added, more, Now we're getting to the better cards. Not only did Bushiroad make shinier cards, made an incentive to buy the packs, an incentive to do this, they've increased the power of a card to justify the purchase. A good example is we don't even know what the CBD stride's gonna do, or Legion, whichever one it is. But I'll tell you here and now, that card will be great. It has to be. Either that card or one of the other cards in that set have to justify its purchase. It has to. Because, or else, it can't be like a Lambros situation where Lambros was great. Everything else was just terrible, though. I mean, there wasn't really that much good stuff in GBTO2. We're gonna see just very powerful boss units that the decks are gonna need to have. The Susanos, let's look, the Tsukiyomi Grade 1. People who play Tsukiyomi, they're gonna need that. Even though it's a common, they're building towards something here. Suki Susano, Koko Susano, the Susano Stride now. What does it do? We don't know, but you can bet that Susano players are gonna have to have it. It's gonna justify the purchase. Bushiroad made this price increase. They made this price increase going into GBTO4, knowing that GBTO4 was going to be kind of a mess set. They were risking the fact that they weren't going to get that many sales from it. But they're preparing for GBTO5, which they know will be the value. Because that's what they're preparing for. They know what they're doing ahead of time. And Fighters Collection, the way they're going to make money off Fighters Collection 15, or 16, I guess. 15 part 2, 16 part 1, I don't know. Either way, whichever one it is, they're appealing to players' nostalgia. That's how they get them. You Steel Dragon players out there, sorry. You're going to get a Steel Dragon Stride that's great, and you're going to buy the set so you can get the Steel Dragon Stride, or you're going to buy packs to get the Steel Dragon Stride because you want your Steel Dragons to be good again. The same thing with Beast Deities. I can't think of any of the other ones that are going to have it. Grand Blue. So that's part 2 of Bushiroad's strategy of how to make money back by increasing the set. They appeal to players' nostalgia. The third part is they appeal. It's the only time you will ever hear me say this on Team Absolution. They appeal to players' preference. For example, there's a reason that we're getting an advanced booster set that only contains Tachikaze, Nubatama, and Spike Brothers. Those 3 clans are some of the 3 clans with the strongest fan bases. It's true. I'm surprised, and that's the reason Grand Blue gets their own trial deck and is strongly supported in a set. They need to push sales, so they're appealing to your ethos. There's a branch in economics known as behavioral economics. It's basically the economics of how people think, how people react. Some say it's like psychology, kind of is, but it's more like how you act in regards to incentives and disincentives in regards to money. So Bushiroad knows that if they want to get the money out of you now that they've increased the price, they have to add incentive to it. So they have to appeal to your psychology. Like, what makes you tick when it comes to the game? Well, power creep makes competitive players tick. They need to be competitive, so they increase the competitiveness of the game by increasing power creep. Well, it doesn't increase the competitiveness of the game, but it increases what I need to be competitive in the game. So that's how they appeal to the competitive players like us at Team Absolution. To the non-competitive players, the players who love to play Grand Blue, Tachi, Spikes. I'm not saying anything wrong with the competitive nature of those decks, I'm just saying that those decks aren't as competitive as others. To compete with those, they make a set just for those players. Now those players have to. Finally, Nubatama's getting some serious support. Finally, Spike Bros can shine again. Finally, I can stop making fun of Tachis. People will stop picking on me. Maybe not, but the point is you're getting your own set, which incentivizes you to buy more, even though the price increases happen. That's why Grand Blue gets its own trial deck. That's why Grand Blue gets strong support in the set. That's why Pale Moon gets its own trial deck. That's why Pale Moon gets its own part of the set. Is because it pushes these players that before probably might not buy the set. For example, GBTO5. Pale Moon players would have no reason to buy it if it wasn't in there, right? No, because there are some players out there who will stick to one clan and drive that clan home. I've seen it in the comments. Some of you say, I'm Kagura to death. Luckily, you picked a really good clan and get some decent support. Right now, not so much. But in the past, they've pretty gotten good support. I play Royal Paladins a lot of the time. Sometimes I don't, but for the longest time I did. Some people will play Grand Blue until Grand Blue just doesn't get support. And they've been playing it while it hasn't gotten support. I have seen in big tournaments, Grand Blue players getting support. Bushiroad sees that people play what they like. Player preference. So, Bushiroad appeals to this player preference by releasing products designed directly at those consumers. Bushiroad's marketing skills actually aren't that bad when it comes to messing with your head. You just gotta know what they're gonna do. But I think I've talked enough when it comes about behavioral economics, regular economics, so now you kind of have some idea about how the prices are gonna affect your boxes, your singles, and future Bushiroad decision-making policy. If you have any comments, you have any questions, I'm more than free to answer them. Please like, share, subscribe. Shout out to our Force of Will channel. Shout out to our games channel. Shout out to everything else. And remember, we're your source, Team Absolution. See you later. Peace.